Yanks are coming, the Yanks are coming, the drums rum-tumming everywhere. So prepare, say a prayer, send the...
Welcome back. I'm Jim Kruse. I'm an Army veteran. I served in the Army from 67 to 70. I deployed to Korea from 68 to 69. I got my honorable discharge in 1970. The goal of this program is twofold. First of all, we're trying to have civilians and veterans understand more about what military life is like, and also trying to have people find out about the programs that can help veterans. 2 weeks ago, our country had its 247th birthday. One of the things we vets do is honor and respect our country. Although we don't always agree with the things that happen in this country, we served it, we honor it, and we love it as the land of the free and the home of the brave. My guest today was an Army medic in Vietnam. And unfortunately, last week we found out he had developed a heart condition which he believes was caused by Agent Orange. He's undergoing surgery today. His name is Daryl Wortham. After hearing his story, I felt that you needed to hear it too. So I'm going to relate to you the story that he told me. Daryl was born in Evergreen Park, Illinois. He lived and went to school most of his life in the south side of Chicago. Daryl had just finished college and had gotten married February of 1967. As a wedding present, Uncle Sam sent him a notice that he was to be drafted into the Army. Daryl started his service in the Army as a draftee August of 1967. Both his father and his father-in-law were World War II vets, and he felt that this was the right thing to do. He did his basic and an advanced individual training as an engineer. As usual, this training is to be a combat engineer. At the end of it, he received his orders to go to Vietnam. The trip he took over the ocean was by airplane. It was long and it was strenuous. When he landed, the first thing he felt was, this is way too hot, and I'm scared. He went to the hospital for his shots and a checkup. While he was there, a large group of mass casualties came in. Now this is the Army for you. The doctor came over and asked him if he'd be willing to help with the wounded. Daryl said, yes, I would. So he said, I'm going to show you how to stitch up a wound. Now, I know that this sounds strange, but this is what happened. They went through, and he was showed by the doctor how to do the stitching. Once the stitching was done, the doctor came over to him and said, you did a great job. He says, would you like to be a medic? He says, I think it would be better than driving a dump truck. And Daryl agreed with him. So he trained for 2 months in the hospital as a medic. For those who've never served, changing your career in the Army happens a lot. Sometimes they need a cook. Well, you're a radio specialist, but they don't need you. They need a cook, so you become a cook. Daryl became a medic. He worked in the hospital for a few months, and then his engineering unit wanted him back. They took him out. They went out, and he took him out as a field medic. They went out to a jungle outpost that was guarded by ARVN, which is Army of the Republic of Vietnam armored units. One night, the Viet Cong attacked the base. They overran the outer defenses. There were several wounded, so Daryl gave treatment out in the open under fire. One soldier was wounded, and Daryl was giving him an IV. And as they were there was a Jeep right next to him. A Jeep is about the size of a small car. It was hit by an RPG, a rocket-propelled grenade. The Jeep blew over their heads. The IV was stopped right then and there, and Darrell pulled the man to safety and treated him. He then ran over to one of the Arvin vehicles and looked inside. These men were supposed to be protecting them. They were too scared to fight. This happened a lot in Vietnam. Eventually, the Cong were pushed out. When you're wounded, the first words that come to your mouth is medic, and it's yelled in very loud and in pain. These men and women go into harm's way to save the wounded, generally at risk of their own lives. Darrell was honorably discharged in 1969. He eventually became vice president of the Wells Fargo Bank. He worked with other vets and started a group called Veterans Voices that helps the vets and our troops. They help people in Hines and Manteno and the blind vets and do all kinds of good acts for them. He was also asked to be the assistant for Veterans Affairs in the village of Orland Park, which he agreed to do. He and I have become friends over the many years, and I never heard this story from Darrell. This is something that you hear from Vietnam vets. They do not open up to people. They talk a lot about Agent Orange. Agent Orange was a defoliant. This was used to spray to keep the ground cover down. It got in the air, in the earth, in the troops' clothes, and in the water they drank. I have many friends that are Vietnam veterans, and they witnessed the spray. There's a saying, our troops left Vietnam, but Vietnam never left our troops. I'm going to ask you to please keep Darrell in your prayers. He's having surgery today, just about this time. I hope to have him here later on so that he can tell more stories about what he did. As you can tell, he tells you he's an ordinary man, but Darrell was a hero and is a hero. Now I'm going to show you what we put in the care packages. You'll see what it's like when the people open these boxes. The first thing they're going to get is a card signed by the person who packed that box, telling them, hey, we support you, and we want you to come home safe. And then we give them funnies. Now, why we give them funnies? They let them laugh a little bit. There's not a lot to laugh about over there. And then we give dried fruit. Dried fruit they can put in their backpacks when they're out on patrol, and it gives them a little bit something to build up their energy. And CDs. Hey, and we really could use CDs from you people. Any kind of music. When you're there alone sometimes, it gets very boring. And I don't know about you, when I get lonely or I get depressed a little bit, music always helps. Oh, and these, especially now in Europe, most of our men and women are sitting in tents over in Europe. And when they do duty at night, the mess halls are closed. But they have microwaves close by. So these microwave meals help them a lot, and they can have something to eat. And of course, our old staple, tuna. Nothing like tuna to get out there when you're hungry. And we also send DVDs. Like I said, sometimes it's lonely. And in the rec rooms, that's the recreation rooms, they always have a DVD player so they can watch the movies. We send tooth gear, brushes, toothpaste, floss, and we send a large assortment of books. Like I say, it gets boring over there, and in many cases, they don't have anything to do, and if they're like me, they love to read. Every GI over there loves jerky. Now, when we were dealing with Iraq and Afghanistan, we could only send beef jerky because we were upholding the laws of the countries we were living in. But now we can send any jerky. So if you want to help us, we could use jerky. We use wet wipes. This is the shower of the GI deployed. In many of these cases, like in Iraq and Afghanistan, where we have troops in Syria and Jordan, even in Europe, like I say, you can't always get to a shower, but you can grab a wet wipe and wash off your face and hands and get that dust and everything off of there. And we send drink mixes. In most of the cases where they're over there, the water is terrible. So they can stick these in their canteen and it tastes a little better. The water's still there and it still hydrates them, but it doesn't taste like the swamp. And these are good for a lot of things, especially, of course, we all know our personal hygiene cleaning, but they're great for cleaning your weapon. And we send puzzles, the smaller the better, because like I say, sometimes you're bored. And a small puzzle is something that can take your mind off of the things you've had to go through during the day. We send hygiene items too, especially shaving gel. I can't send shaving cream in a place where you can aerosol, because the post office won't let us. So we ask when you give us stuff to use this shaving gel, and because, man, you have to shave every day, and it's no fun cold shaving. We send bandanas because, you know, over there, it's nice to have something around your neck, especially when you're sweating, and socks, especially in the Middle East. Socks, sand gets in your boots. When you're marching or you're out on patrol, that sand rubs against the bottom of your socks and you get big holes. We send what we call pack-a-bags. It's all kinds of toiletries and over-the-counter medicines so that they can grab it right out of their kits there. Again, more hygiene stuff. And this is great during the summer. These are freeze pops. They can always find a freezer over there. And I'm going to tell you, in Afghanistan and the Middle East, sometimes these people, they didn't even wait for it to freeze. They just popped them open and drank them down because they're pure sugar. And these kids, and many of them are kids, enjoy having a little bit of a sugar high. Soap, of course, because, you know, people say, doesn't the government provide these things? Well, they give you your clothes, they give you a place to sleep, and they give you a bed, and they give you food to eat. But you're getting paid. We got paid as, and usually you could go to the PX, which is the Post Exchange, or our Kmart or Target, and we could buy stuff. But when you're over there, as some of you that were on my last show, remember the letter said, the PX was built for about 500 people, and now there's 5,000 there. So they can't buy this stuff. And this is the biggest thing that they go for over there, Girl Scout cookies. They love Girl Scout cookies. I don't know about you, but I love them too. More hygiene and razors. You know, when you're over there, you can't always get new razors. So the disposable razors are great. Batteries. A lot of their people over there have radios, players, DVDs and that, where they need batteries. And of course we send magazines. So if you got magazines, we take them. Fishing, hunting, car magazines, historical magazines, all of those. They're great. And these are treats that we send. These are Pops, the Pop-Tarts. You know, like I say, they've got microwaves. Gum, very important. When you're out on patrol, sometimes it gets pretty dry out there. Stick a piece of gum in your mouth and not so dry. And peanuts. And of course, candy. These are from 18 to 22-year-old men and women. Not all of them, of course. Some of them are dads like me or grandpas, which you wouldn't believe. and more soap, and the cards. And these are your cards that you've signed. There's a message in there, and it says, "We thank you. We support you." When you're over there, you sometimes wonder, does anyone care that I'm over here? You know your family does, but there's a lot of these men and women over there are from broken homes and or have no parents. So they don't know. They say, "I'm here defending people." Do they care? These cards and letters care. One other thing that we send over, and I have to thank the Green Hills Library for this, is we send books on disc. They give them to us as they use them. When they get these boxes, everybody gathers around. I'm told it's like a treasure hunt. So at the end of the show, I'm going to put on a list of drop-off points. And you saw what we gave. If you would be willing to donate some of that stuff, we'll make sure that it gets over there to these people and that they enjoy it and they know it's coming from you. On August 4th to 6th, the City of Orland Park will be hosting the VAU, that's Veterans and Athletes United Fallen Heroes Memorial Flag. It will be at the Taste of Orland Park. It will show a flag that's made up of the dog tags of the 7,050 men and women who have passed away, giving their bodies for the last full measure since 9/11. The stars are Gold Star flags from Gold Star families. A Gold Star represents a family whose service member has died or was killed in service for their country. I'd like to ask you to please attend. I will be there, and I will be signing those cards that you saw. You can tell these men and women, hey, thank you, believe me. Also, Hometown VFW Auxiliary is having a Diamond Jubilee, the dinner, to honor their 75 years of service. I work with Hometown, and I know the good work that they do. The dinner will be at Garden Chalet at 1100 Ridgeland Avenue on August 27th. Price is $30. It includes dinner and dancing. The purchase tickets, you can call 708-422-9800, and there will be something at the end of this showing that also. We send care packages to our deployed military, as I've told you, and aboard ships. We send packages every month, and I've been doing it now for about 20 years, and I get letters back. And I'd like to read one of those letters. And, I would like to read one of those letters. And I will go back over the years for the letters that I've had. And this one was from 2017. Dear James, on behalf of our team, I'd like to thank you for the boxes you sent in September. The team was very thankful for all that you do for our troops. I would also like to take the time to thank each and every person that contributed in filling the boxes and writing the notes. They're notes of thanks. Kruse's Krew is a significant program to all the military and civilians deployed. I would also like to take this opportunity to inform you that we and Chief Larson are returning to the U.S. There is another team, and they will be signing up with you. I pray that the Lord will bless everyone that has sacrificed their time or money to support all of us here in Afghanistan. God bless you all. Very respectfully, Candace Marshall. Should you have a deployed serviceman or woman overseas, I and other groups would like to welcome you to send their addresses to us, and we will be glad to send them care packages. The only thing we would ask for you to do or them is to let us know when they're coming home, because it costs about $20.75 to send one of these boxes. There will be a list of drop-off points after the show following, so that you can take this ingredients that you saw here and put them in there. And it will also have my email address if you want to send me their addresses. Believe me, this is important. It's home to them. I want to thank you for all of you who saw the show today. I hope this information and remembrance of our warriors helps you to understand us and what we did for you. We will be doing this show every month here on PHTV4, interviewing veterans and organizations that will help our veterans. Thank you for watching, and I hope to welcome you back again next month. Honor and respect.